is community policing, and number 2 are rectification programs. In Karamoja, he has already told you that community policing is already in progress. One of the things that has been done, that has always been done in that part of the country, is to make sure that we go to the people and talk to them, sensitize them, mobilize them, educate them, and work with them. So we are going to continue this. We know there are radios there, we shall use the radios, but most importantly, we are going to use meetings, and we're also going to talk, to cooperate with the police, because the Karachunas and any other people who are involved in this intertribal kind of cattle thefts, we need to engage them so that they can even tell us exactly who is doing what and where they are doing it from. So we are going to intensify on that. I don't need to even say much more. But the other area that we are going to put our efforts is Sebei region. Why Sebei? Sebei region is also affected when we are talking about insecurity in Karamoja. Actually, there are cattle that were found in that region that had been stolen from Karamoja. I think from areas of Amadat, that is the Pokot, where the Pokot are. And I think Pian areas. Pian, we are talking about Nabiratuk, we are also talking about Nakapiripirit. So we are going to, this month, we are left with very few days at the end of the month. Within the 2 weeks I'm talking about, officers from my directorate will be going to Sebei sub-region, and after that we shall go to Karamoja. And in the Sebei sub-region, we also want to make sure that we do a rectification campaign. When he was talking about some killings, I think he forgot to tell you that at the border, at the Swam, around some areas, Buko, one person was killed, and I think those who were involved crossed up to Kenya. So
two of our police officers were killed. They were hacked to death.
Yeah.
And the officers also shot, and the stray bullet killed a civilian. And I think that's what sparked the anger. So we lost 2 officers on the 12th, and some of the suspects ran away. But before that, 2 years ago, they had also hacked an officer from Uwa, who had just gone there because there were some buffaloes that had strayed, and they went there to chase them away. So they fired some shots, and again, accidentally, somebody was shot, and that Uwa officer was murdered. The police officer who provided information about those who murdered the Uwa officer was also hacked to death. So it's a community that has been harboring that anger for some time. But there's a lot that CPT is also doing in that area to talk to the people.
Exactly, that is the reason why we are profiling that area. That is the Sebei area. And we shall, in the next 2 weeks, be doing the same activity. Mainly, we are going to focus on mobilization of people against criminals, against crime. We know that there are some guns in the area, and people actually know those who are doing that. So I will be leading a team to Sebei region, and I invite anyone who wants to go with us to go and see what we shall be doing. We shall be also having mass media campaigns in the region. We shall also be talking about the cases that are there, discuss them with the communities, and invite the local leadership to be able to work with us in order to reduce crime in that area. Probably that's what I can brief you about. Maybe thirdly, and very quickly, you know that the police, maybe the director CID will add on this, that we are dealing with cattle thefts along the cattle corridor. Of recent, some cattle thefts have gone a little bit higher in the cattle corridor that stretches up to Sembabure, and you go up to Mbarara, you know, Kazo, and recently I've been told even in Greater Bushenyi, much as it is not in the cattle corridor area. So we also will be intensifying campaigns against cattle thefts. The methods are known, the people are known by the communities. The only thing that we need to do is work hand in hand with them to make sure that all perpetrators of this crime are investigated and taken to court, and invite the communities to adopt crime prevention strategies to make sure that in the first instance we don't have this crime going on. I thank you so much for listening to me. God bless you.
And maybe before I call Mr. Vyakagava to give a brief, we are saddened, of course, by the death of one of you in Bushenyi. This was like a domestic violence. Both of them were working in the same radio. No, different radios. But they were in relation for some time.
The radio was working at the BFA, which is Bushenyi FM, and the young man was working with the Hunter's radio. The proprietor is the Honorable Mawanda, who is a member of parliament for Bushenyi.
So that was very unfortunate. The lady has been apprehended. I'm sure Madam Akulo will do everything possible to ensure that there is justice. So, Mr. Yakagawa, please.
Thank you very much. I'd like first of all to say I'm privileged to meet a good number of the Fourth Estate this morning, and I believe you are going to help us in projecting the message that we want to put across to our people. Allow me, first of all, to share with you, and by extension share with the general public, that as far as terrorism is concerned, the situation is calm and stable. However, we are always alive to the fact that there is always a looming threat, because the terrorists have not yet stopped wanting to cause us trouble. And therefore this morning I take this opportunity to remind ourselves, to remind our people that the threat of terrorism is still there, and that all the time we need to keep alive to that fact, and always take the necessary measures. And one of our biggest weapons is collective responsibility in as far as this threat is concerned. In other words, we as security, we are prepared and will keep always prepared to counteract any acts of terrorism, but equally our extra strength is in the good-minded people, which I know that the majority of Ugandans are peace-loving people, and therefore once they see anything strange or anything that they think may cause us to have the problem of terrorism, they will quickly act. And how do we want them to act? One, share information with us so that we are able to handle such situations. Share information with the immediate civic leaderships in our environment. Let us keep reminding ourselves on the issues of neighborhood watch. Ensure that all of us take responsibility for the security of our environment. Anything suspicious, let it be reported to the nearest authority so that there is quick intervention. And this should happen not only in the homes, but it should be when we are on our movements anywhere, and any other environment that you want to introduce yourself to. Please always have at the back of your mind that there is always the threat of terrorism. The other aspect that helps us to ensure that we are able to identify the possible threat of terrorism is by keeping our environment organized. This is what we call it good housekeeping. We need to get used to what we call good housekeeping so that you are able to identify what could have been introduced into your environment. Then there are other areas which are more susceptible and more prone to possible attacks by the terrorists. And these are areas which attract a good number of people. The crowd pullers, areas which attract very many people for purposes of trade, for purposes of entertainment, and so on and so forth. Now we call upon the proprietors of these places to ensure that all the time there is good access control measures so that you are sure of the persons who are accessing your facilities. There is a lot of good work being done in as far as COVID is concerned. Wherever you go, at least people don't forget sanitization. People don't forget measuring the temperature. But I would like also to remind our people that on top of that good work, add ensuring that whoever is accessing your facility doesn't access with dangerous items, or even observation of the persons entering could also go a long way in helping us to forestall what these bad people may be intending to do. Let's say, for example, a terrorist does not move when he has put a placard on his face that I'm a terrorist. But you may see the demeanor. Does this person appear to be in a hurry? Is he jittery or is she jittery? What is this person carrying? And so on and so forth. I think the list is endless. But above all, I would like to assure our people that 24/7 we are thinking about countering those threats. But the best case scenario is that we all work together and ensure that especially our young people, that's the main vulnerable category, which could easily be confused to be taken into issues of extremism. You know, before someone gets into terror activities at times, there is the issue of recruitment, There is the issue of trying to turn some of these people into extremists. And this you can be able to observe in our communities. You are able to guide our people not to be taken on into that. Having said that, allow me just to share with you a few incidents which are happening on our social media. One of them, I think, has been trending for quite some time, by someone who says he's a terrorist and calling upon people. But what is even worse is that it is divisive. Calling upon a certain group against another. I wouldn't like even to repeat what it is saying, but I would like our people to work together with us to ensure that such negative-minded people are reported. But on our side, we are not leaving it at that, and I therefore would like to warn such people that it may be done once or twice, but surely we shall catch up with those people who are misusing the social media to misguide our people by negative propaganda, talking about involvement in terror activities, and I think we cannot allow that to continue happening. So I come here to assure you that we as security, we are assuring you of full security, but also working together with you, because as far as we are concerned, we get stronger, and we are far much stronger when we are working together with the peace-loving people. I would like to end with a positive note and thank the public for always working with us. And this security that we are enjoying is not by us alone. It is out of the contributions of the Ugandans who don't want to see people disturbing this peace. I thank you very much.
Can I get Madam Akulu? Madam Akulu, are you ready? Sarah? You are winning. You come.
In the last previous 2 weeks, social media and in the press generally reported an accident in Kasese, and this accident happened along Fort Potro Kasese Hima Highway. However, in those reports, you alarmed the public and said 32 people died, and that was wrong. I want to put
the record clear today that the 32 people reported by a reputable organization, Red Cross, was not correct. Because of that alarm, I went to Kasese to reconstruct the scene, and the information I got were not really good. The Red Cross ambulances were not at the scene. Their staff, or even volunteers in the communities, did not visit or reach at the scene of accident. And the number of vehicles they reported to have been many. We ascertained there were 5 involved in an accident I repeat, this was an accident in an accident. And the cause of this accident in an accident was that the contractor on that highway excavated loam soil, which was black, and left it on the highway without any road signs to warn motorists that there was a hazard ahead. As a result, we lost 10 people, not 32. It is unfortunate that those lives were lost on that spot in those vehicle crashes at the same spot. And what happened was that when the oncoming vehicles collided, it was a canter and a saloon car that had head-on collision, and 2 people died on spot. The police responded immediately. Within like 5 minutes, the police had reached there at the scene. And the vehicle also of canter in make coming from Fort Potro came along that road without knowing what was happening on the road, and found that the accident had happened and stopped to help the victims. It was at that time that a concrete mixer, a trailer with a concrete mixer, came, lost control, hit that vehicle, and we lost 8 people within a short time of less than 10 minutes at the same spot. And in that accident, that concrete mixer injured the police officer who had responded to the first collision. So it is unfortunate 10 people died, but again, for Red Cross as an organization that is known as a reputable organization, to report that number was not proper. I thought I would first make that clarification. I would also like to mention, not related to that, to the accidents now, that there are many sirens on our roads. And these sirens are on vehicles of private security organizations and private vehicles. I want to appeal to those who are driving those vehicles to immediately disable those sirens before traffic police gets them. I appeal to them not to drive in town with the sirens. We are going to arrest them, let them disable them immediately. I have also realized that there are several contractors on the road, and we have approached the KCCA, and that these contractors doing road repairs and excavations should factor in traffic and road safety component so that they don't cause accidents. More often than not, we always see excavations and roadworks without road signs to warn motorists. And the case in point was yesterday when they excavated soil at Spear Motors along Ginger Roadway. And around 4 p.m., I went there and insisted to the contractor to return that heap of soil to where he had excavated it from. They should always consider traffic and road safety component in those contracts. And if they do not have enough personnel, can they approach the traffic police so that we guide motorists and don't register any death on our road? I am also getting some intelligence reports that people drink and drive during the day. And they drink from their friends' homes, and from point A to point B, they drive and they are causing accidents. These accidents in the city are not happening during the night because there is curfew. But we are registering these accidents. So soon, we are going to mount sobriety checkpoints on undisclosed roads, and we shall get them. I also want to appeal to them to stop drinking and driving on our roads. And I want to ask members, really, what's the problem of alcohol in this country? Alcohol, njaga, this njaga, these things they chew, it's a big problem. When you talk of domestic violence, alcohol surfaces. Now, in road carnage, alcohol is there. In whatever crime we are talking about, someone whispers of alcohol. What is alcohol consumption in this country? Can't we really do something about it? These injuries in homes, legs, where they are sometimes caused by alcohol. So we need also to do something about the consumption of alcohol in this country. The other time when I appeared on the press briefing, I talked about the number plates that are in the hands of garage owners, scrap dealers, and wrong hands. However, we have got progress, and this progress is yielding results. And I think in the next briefing, I will give you these results. And I think it will be a surprise for it will be a surprise for most of us that those number plates were in the hands of the garage owners and in the wrong hands. However, we have not used the law to get them. We have used the community policing, community engagement, and we have used the crime intelligence, the traffic police, and the results are good. and we shall get more number plates. I appeal to those garage owners who are not cooperative to really surrender those number plates to traffic police before the long arm of the law gets them. I was also briefed that some of you were still questioning our ticketing system of the EPS system. This is an automated system, and we don't expect many errors, and we only need the offenders or drivers to be conversant with the system. When a ticket is given to you, you do not go to the URA portal to have to download the assessment forms. The moment you do that, we shall fail to reconcile the payments. So I advise you not really. You only need to take the ticket given to you, you present it in the bank, and you pay. It has a serial number, and it has the payment registration number, which you only present, and you settle your fine. And this is settled in 28 days. Failure to pay in 28 days attracts a surcharge of 50%. It means if you had a speed ticket, say, of 200,000, after 28 days, you will pay 300,000. Then, many complaints come from PSVs, the public transport drivers, where they jump in several vehicles and drive. A driver in a day can enter into 3 or 4 vehicles and drive them around town here for maybe survival. When he gets a ticket, the ticket is tied on the driving permit and that particular number plate of the vehicle you are driving. So if this vehicle is returned to the rightful driver, and tomorrow they get him, he starts complaining that he did not commit an offense, and yet he had given it to his friend. So those are the complaints we always get, but I expect the express penalty scheme, which is an automated system, not to be having problems, and it should have eased our fining system, and expect less complaints. Thank you very much.
Yes, Madam Akulo or Mr. Damley, you are ready. Madam Nande, you are reserved. Now, maybe lastly, let me say something that has also been happening within Kampala, and we are working around the clock. All of you know there has been a lot of complaints. There has been a lot of complaints, especially on Boda. I really don't know what Boda riders want in this country. Do they want to do business or they want thuggery? Yes, because this is a very important industry. There are so many people who know why and how the Boda industry evolved. It's because of the jams that we are having. I think these jams are going to eventually be sorted out by widening of roads within Kampala city, but also maybe by having flyovers. Because some Boda riders have taken it upon themselves to involve in crime. There are some Asian and the Chinese community targeted, and they have come to me complaining. They even have video clips, but we are also monitoring some of them on our CCTV cameras, where they follow a particular businessman, especially of Asian and Chinese origin. They are aware that probably they have some little money that they are going to bank, and some of the workers within the premises of those Asian and Chinese give information to some of their relatives who are operating bodas, and then they just follow. And Asian or Chinese, for them also they want to beat the jam, and they jump on these motorcycles to go and do some banking. And then somebody comes and knocks that boda down, and then a bag is snatched with some cash, and then they run away. For me, I can only tell them the days are numbered. The days are numbered. They have tried to resist so many things, including just having them registered and organized. All of us are aware about this. They have refused to be properly organized. Otherwise, that would be the easiest industry to organize. Have them in gazetted stages, know the number of people operating there, know the people operating there, give them a chance to select their own leader or the leaders, and then they operate properly. So that they don't also put their stages everywhere. But you find their stages near the banks, you find their stages near embassies, you find their stages in areas where they should not even be. And any attempt to have them organized, they don't want. And they have also had issues because they have had a lot of problems, as you are aware. And at the end, the tail end of it, they leave it to the police. You remember one time they were being robbed left and right, they are being murdered, and the motorcycle was taken. But all the time we are struggling to ensure that these crimes don't increase. But we need their cooperation. The more they are organized, the better for us. So that even the wrong people don't take advantage. Because we might think that some of these people are actually boda operators. When somebody merely buys a motorcycle, a Bajaj or a Boxer that resembles the ones that they use, and he also begins riding. And the people who are doing this are either seated two in a motorcycle and targeting these businessmen. But for me, I can say their days are numbered. We are now concentrating, even at the command center, we are just busy because we are trying to profile those other areas where they operate from, and we are trying to watch them. So very soon we are going to get most of the people who are doing that. Thank you very much. I don't know if Enanga has something for you. Otherwise, yes? Maybe we can attend some few questions. Enanga, regulate this one.
Can take the question. You know the arrangement we usually have, that if a question is asked, we don't repeat it. So we shall go in this order. Number one, you get your number, 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There are 8 questions. You ask all of them, and then the director will see how to distribute them. Mention your name and
Radio 1 and Radio News. In your address, when you are giving us a brief about this thing, and then the system where all the money was done, all the part being a matter. You mentioned about how many people are arrested in that case. And then the other question goes to CID. We are made to understand that there are people who are again still complaining about their relatives who are allegedly kidnapped. And we are supposed to have them listed and know the development. How far have you reached with this issue?
thank you very much. My name is Ali Ibrahim. I have some questions here, most especially getting them from the President's speech and regards to the situation of the country that was on Saturday. Well, at first, the security agents, we were coming here, and the attitude here was like, you people actually didn't know where the people that were being arrested were. And then here we are, the president comes out and tells the nation that actually some people are still under custody. So at that time, what was the problem? Because we didn't get really the information from you guys. And again, where were these people? Were they in gazetted places? Because we understand still some of the people are still under detention. So, and again, the issue of the 48-hour rule rules. Many times, many of those people actually are beyond the stipulated time in the law where they're supposed to be under detention. Here we have people who have been under detention for more than even a month. I would like to get a comment on that. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is John from Malanda. I work with NTV Uganda. One question about it is we very well know that in some sectors were closed in the bid to combat the spread of COVID-19. Bars were among them, but we see bars open, and these bars are being guarded by many military, and that is police, and they have maybe want to credit for me why some of these bars are open and guarded by your men. These are places like in Kororo, Nigeria, and some places in Tinga and Kabalagala, people I mentioned. Then too, just to add on what my colleague has asked, on the 5th of February, the minister, that is J.J. Odo, was on the floor of Parliament, and that was days before he was here, and he personally asked about the people who have been abducted, and he denied. But on the floor, he confirmed that they have them, and then also he mentioned having arrested some people who were running these drone vans that are allegedly being sent to the ones taking away these people. So I want to get an update with people who said that were arrested, said some security officers were arrested. Then to add on, the president in his speech, he acknowledged that they have the people who have been missing. And he went on to say that you will be availing us with a list. He mentioned several groups that have taken these people. Just to be specific, he said the CMI took in 177. He said he has a group of commandos from Somalia who took 159, and others, 65 and 17. In total, these are over 200 people. Maybe we would love to get it from you here on the record. You have this list available to us as the media. Then we have seen some of the people who allegedly say they have been tortured and dropped in certain places. But by the fact that they are released, it means there are no charges against them. So we want to get into why these people are tortured. And then where is justice for them? The fact that they have been taken in on accusations or maybe as suspects, then they are dropped somewhere. Some are limping, some are crutches. Where is justice for these people? And then why get someone from Kono and then drop him in the forest somewhere in Masaka, even without money, without a phone, without like no contact at all? Maybe if they are given back to their families or put somewhere close to their places where they were tipped. And then we want to know, because we have seen some people being dropped, we want to know how many are still in the custody of police or wherever they are kept, and maybe the preferred charges against them. And okay, others have been said about the hours where they are being to be more than further, maybe to know when they will be brought to court. Thank you.
Let's continue, but let's not repeat ourselves. Once a question is asked, there's no need to repeat.
Good afternoon.
We are still following the order.
My name is Ivan Kaho. I work for UBC. My question goes to Fande Niwavin. You've talked about quite a very pertinent issue, and that is the issue of sirens, the discomfort that it brings on our roads in Kampala. I wonder how have you empowered the traffic officers? Because it seems like many people having sirens are untouchables. we see brand new V8s with normal number plates driving on wrong lanes. On top of having a siren, someone as well goes on a wrong lane. Even motorcycles, Fanny Ochoma has talked about it. Some motorcycles have sirens, and this is happening. Sometimes the traffic officers find it very hard to implement certain actions. Maybe perhaps they do not know what type of vehicle is allowed by law to have a siren or right of way. That's how I understand it. Or even maybe the people who procure these sirens are also ignorant of the law. So in terms of sensitizing the public, what is your strategy as the Uganda Police Force to ensure that at least we sort out this kind of disorganization within the city and even on highways? Thank you so much.
Richard Olwin, NDS.
Pardon? Good.
Upon the commander-in-chief admitting to the kidnaps, others call it arrests, we're asking, under what circumstance does police or any other security operatives use vehicles without number plates? Now we have drones popularly used to take people, others call it kidnap. Under what circumstance do you use cars without registration numbers to arrest suspects? Thank you.
My name is Joseph Kato. I work with Uganda Radio Network. First question, half network. They go to Director Traffic, Commissioner Nwari. Drive to know there is increasing number of numberless and tainted vehicles on roads, including those that have been used to abduct Ugandans. Why isn't traffic arresting drivers and impounding such vehicles? Two, you are talking of sirens and being used, but this is a talk that has been said from Director Kasima to Busha and now to you. But I've never seen vehicles or drivers who have been arrested or giving us an update or people you have installed sirens being arrested. Is it just a talk or an action this time should be expected? Then we'd like to know from Director Negligence and the Director Counterterrorism. The President said they used the commandos to arrest, actually he didn't use the word terrorists. We'd like to know how many terrorists did you get during the election period? And at what time were you involved as Director CT and Intelligence? Or the level of threat was beyond your capacity and the President had to hire military commandos? Then we'd like to know from Afande Kasinji, when you say profiling Sebei, can you clarify that? Is it profiling the entire community or we have selected suspected criminals that you will be profiling Sebei?
My first question goes to the Director of Operations. There is a family in Masaka of Joyce Nachan. She's a police officer who fell sick 3 years ago. But police is sending uniform each and every time. The family has complained to police for assistance, but we were only sending uniform. So the family, through us, wants to get assistance, to find ways of getting assistance from police. Another one is a Ugandan called Baguma Musa, who was shot dead from South Sudan. How are you going to help the family in getting back the body? Another question goes to Afande Nwari. Traffic officers are complaining on the road that security personnel driving private cars and government cars cause traffic on the roads. How are you going to help them? Because even if they come to arrest them, they identify themselves or some call big people. How are you going to empower the police officers, the traffic men?
The last question. Has it been asked already? Or?
the first part has been asked already, which is I want to know who the security chiefs here knew what was happening, and when did you know what was happening? And secondly, so it's Liam Taylor, I'm the economist. So the first part was just who knew what was happening and when. And secondly, in regard to the judgment. And secondly, as police, your job is to enforce the law. As I understand it, there is no legal basis for extrajudicial detentions. Do you therefore consider that by ordering this operation, the President would act unlawfully?
Thank you. So those are the questions that
yes, I think we shall apportion these questions, and those who should answer can answer them. I have few I can answer. Maybe I can start with almost the last ones, and that is the issue of somebody shot in another country. There is in South Sudan. This is the issue of Musa Baguma. That one, I think the problem is the process. I think the family can be assisted if the family complains. Let them write, because certain things we may not be able to know. What happens outside this country? It may be difficult to know, but the family can write to the Inspector General. The Inspector General, through the Minister of Internal Affairs, can contact the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs will know how to deal with that. We will, of course, as you are aware, there are issues also here, where we have some foreigners maybe, one way or the other, could be an accident, could be by accident, maybe through crime they are shot, and you know we have always handled it, and we decide to take the bodies back to their countries, but continue with investigations here, and even feed the embassy on what could have happened, what action we have taken, and so on and so forth. So I think that process can be followed. Just advise the relatives accordingly. Suleiman Mutebi, the family of Joyce Nanchans, that is simple. Joyce is a trained police officer. Joyce should know. It happens to all of us. We care for our officers. The resources may not be sufficient, but we care when we get to know. Joyce should just write the Inspector General of Police, even attach the medical reports, and we have a committee that handles that, including even those who are assisted to go out of the country if they cannot be handled by Mulago or any other hospital here. There are records where we have assisted our own, and I don't see why we shouldn't assist really Nanchans. She's our own. She has been working with us. She has put her valuable life to do police work. It is our responsibility to look after her. So let her write. And I'm sure it is going to be handled. Like we have handled quite a number. But Mr. Kasinje can add on to this.
I have handled this together with Human Resource Administration. Indeed, she was an officer who was attached to local administration police and then absorbed in the Ministry of Police. Along the way, she got a medical problem, cancer, and she can't even walk. She wrote, as we alluded to that, and the matter is now being handled by the Director of Human Resource to formally discharge her from the police with her benefits. For the record, we do not just send uniforms to officers and enemies. The unit commanders must write to Inspector General of Police requesting for the uniform. So
And when we send uniforms, we do not in any way say that our uniforms are generally of certain sizes, so we send the number you want, but it's only the name tag that we can give you. The purpose of saying this is for you not to think that we are specifically sending a uniform to her and demanding that she wants. No. And the last uniform, sir, that was given to her was a year ago. The last uniform that was given to her. By the way, sir, she's a secretary. She's really not, she was a secretary to the regional police commander. So she's not in the mainstream police work that we had to make sure we give her a uniform. I think that is a small thing, but the most important thing is that she's being, her case is being handled for her to get her discharge benefits. I think that's the best thing.
Okay, thank you. The other one I can answer is for Jude, Radio 1. 4 people.
I'm sorry. Me and Mr. Dambuya are needed by the DIG. Maybe if I can say something.
You can say, but I think I will also be joining the same meeting. So we should just hurry up. Because I will also join the same meeting.
We are needed somewhere.
Yes, then the other one is for Jude. You want to say something? Yeah, you can sit here.
Thank you. Someone mentioned the issue of quote-unquote terrorists that were arrested, as mentioned by the President. The President made a statement which I don't think we are going to repeat. It was very clear. He gave numbers of people that were arrested by different agencies, and he gave reasons why those people were arrested. But just to amplify on that issue, I want just to bring out a few examples of incidents that you could have captured or missed out in the last maybe couple of weeks. One, following the announcement of results, I think on the 16th of January, we had a number of incidents of throwing petrol bombs at Insanji. Insanji is along Masaka Road. I don't know what one would call that if it's not terrorism. Vehicles were targeted, people were targeted by goonies that were holding petrol bombs. They also used meshed nails to disable vehicles on that road. There was, I think, a stampede for almost 2 hours before it was cleared by youth that were reacting to the announcement of results.
There was even another one in Busia.
So, second, of course there were others. There were 3 in the CBD. One, I think, on Nkrumah Road, where they threw a petrol bomb in a government vehicle. Yeah. There was one at Arua Park, and also there was one in Chikubo.
So the one was targeting a fuel tank.
So if that's not terrorism, then maybe we need to have a conversation about the whole aspect of terrorism. Secondly, we have been receiving cases of people throwing letters to homes of a number of people, warning them of death. That we know you, we are looking for you, and you have a few days to live. Now, that kind of fear, if it's not terrorism, I don't know what we are going to call it. Thirdly, you've been getting reports about a number of handbills that contain seditious information that have been thrown in a number of parts of the country, in Kampala, in Masaka, Mbarara, all over the country. We've been picking these handbills that contain seditious information, calling upon people to demonstrate, calling upon people to reject the government, calling upon people to dispute the results of the elections. So if this is not terrorism, then we need to have a conversation about terrorism. Lastly, since the social media was reopened, we have seen an increase in the messages of hate hate messages, some of which are targeted towards individuals, towards groups of people, and a number of people have been arrested for that reason. So when the president used the word terrorist or terrorism, I think it was in that context. Because when you see petrol bombs being thrown, letters being written to specific individuals, handbills being thrown around to mobilize the population against the government, petrol bombs being thrown, targeting government vehicles, targeting private vehicles, then it means that we have a job to do as a government, but also the population. Because some of these things really put those individuals that are responsible in a different category, which possibly Mr. Abbas Byagaba was talking about in his capacity as Director of Counterterrorism. So the president gave numbers of people that have been arrested. When he addressed the nation from Bali, he gave numbers of people that were arrested by police. Actually, a full account of who was arrested and their status as of that time. Those that were charged to court, those who are still in custody, and others. Maybe we just need to have an update from the police side on those cases. But in terms of accountability, the president was very clear. Every Ugandan that is arrested will be accounted for. He gave a breakdown and he gave reasons, and for that reason, maybe you need to give us time to give you a complete account after that address. That's what I wanted to add. And I think
maybe on record. So are these people that arrested, those that you said were throwing petrol bombs, are they going to be charged with terrorism? Are they going to be slapped with terrorism charges?
That's not, I think, a matter for me to explain. The law is very clear. So the CID and DPP will decide on which charges to prefer against those individuals. I just wanted to give you a context that when the petrol bombs are thrown, then you have a different situation altogether. And when you say people are arrested for no reason, then maybe we can have an in-house conversation about some of these things.
My name is Waman. So does this take away the rights of the 48 hours group? When are they being brought to court? Because information you gave us is the 16th. Up to today, the 15th of February. When we see this being produced before the courts of law?
I think you just have to go and review the statement of the president. He was very clear on what's going to happen in all those cases. The statement is there. The video is there. Just review it, you'll get the answers. Thank you very much.
3 weeks ago, when you were sitting in that chair during a similar briefing to this, and we were asking about where these people were. At that time, did you know these operations were going on?
Who? Me?
You were one of, there were several of the security chiefs that were present at that meeting. You were one of them.
The Minister of Internal Affairs, the Honorable Retired General J.J. Odong, made a statement to Parliament about that issue. So both the statement of the Minister and the statement of the President did supersedes anything else that I can talk about this matter.
You can't tell me whether you knew at the time.
The Minister explained on our behalf as Uganda Police. Yes. So just look at this statement that he gave to Parliament. It's on record over the answer.
You mean it's personal? But the minister, the press conference was by the minister, and we came.
I think what you can do, if there is any other press conference and the minister is there, ask the minister for clarification. But yes, Joe.
But you wanted to, because I know Afghanistan is time bad.
Yeah, even me, I'm going for a meeting.
That statement you made.
Okay, thank you very much. Just for the Uganda speakers, waliwo yabuuzizza ekibuuzo ekikwata ku bantu abaakwatibwa president be yayita terrorist oba abatujju for that matter. Response yange oba okuddamu okwange kubadde bwefuti. Ekisooka, president bwe yakola statement eri eggwanga ku lw'omukaaga yawa mu bulambulukufu ebikwata ku bantu abo. Yayogera ebitongole bya gavumenti ebyabakwata gye bali na kiki ekigenda okubatuukako. So ekyo nabadde sisobola kukiddamu kuba president yakyogera. Ekyokubiri, nempa ebyokulabirako ebyaliwo ng'okulangira okwava mu kulonda kuwedde. Nga waliwo incident oba ebyagwawo ebyateekawo obweraliikirivu mu ggwanga ebiraga nti omuntu bw'akozesa ekigambo terrorism nga kiri mu context eyo kitegeeza nti kirina waakijja. waliwo incident ezaagwawo ensangi abavubuka abamu abakozesa petrol bombs okuba emmoloka z'abantu. Waliwo endala ezaali mu makati ga Kampala naddala nga ku Nkuruma Road waliwo emmoloka ya gavumenti yakubwa petrol bomb. Waliwo ne incident endala ze twalina e Busia ne mu Kikuubo ne Arua Park eza petrol bombs. Era incident ezo tukyazinoonyerezaako era n'abamu ku baazenyigiramu twabakwata. Ekyokubiri, wabaddewo okusuula kiro kitwala omunaku mu mayumba g'abantu, naddala abo be bagamba nti bawagira gavumenti nga batiisatiisibwa nti bagenda kuttibwa, era abamu ku bo twabawa obukuumi. Ekyo kiraga nti waliwo abataagala mirembe abatulimu be tulina okukolagana nammwe okubajja mu society. Ekyokusatu, waliwo ebibaluwa ebirala muzungu byayita handbills ebisuuliddwa mu bitundu ebyenjawulo mu Kampala, Masaka, Mbarara n'awalala nga bakunga abantu okwegugunga, okulemesa gavumenti n'okudisputinga ebyava mu kulonda. Era abamu ku bo kwabo basuula ebibaluwa ebyo twabakwata oba tubakutte, ate nga tulaba nti bali organize kubanga bakozesa pikipiki, bakozesa n'emmoloka. Kitegeeza nti balina organization mwe bakolera ebintu byabwe. N'ekisembayo tulabye nga okuva gavumenti lwe yaggulawo social media waliwo obubaka bungi obutiisatiisa oba obukuma omuliro mu bantu obuyita ku mikutu egyo obuleeseewo embeera ey'ebyokwerinda okufa okulaba nti tunoonya abantu abo babyenyigiddemu. Nga intelligence ya police already twabakwata abantu 2 abayisa obubaka obwo obutiisatiisa abantu, obwakanya ebyava mu kulonda, obugamba nti abantu balina kwekalakaasa okumaliriza ensonga zaabwe. Mwena mukimanyi nti ebyava mu kulonda byalangirirwa, abatabikkiriza bagenda mu kooti, era ffenna tulinda kooti tulabe kyesalawo. Kati bwe tulaba nga abantu bakozesa engeri endala ey'okumaliriza ensonga eyo, fenga ebitongole bya gavumenti tulina kusirika, tulina okuvaayo ne tubanoonya ne tubateeka mu mbuga za gavumenti. So tesobola okwogera ku nsonga y'abaakwatibwa n'ekiki ekigenda okubabeeraho.
The idea of arresting people. We ask you.
Welcome to English in a Minute. It's no surprise that cats like to sleep. A nap is a short period of sleep.
There you are. The movie is about to start.
I'm sorry. I got up at 5 this morning to go swimming, and then I helped a friend move some furniture.
Are you sure you aren't too tired for this